Green Beret, and I have fought in 2 armed conflicts in the Middle East. Initially, I was trained to fight in the European theater to protect the U.S. and its Western allies from the Soviet Union during the heart of a Cold War. As a Green Beret, I had to learn an Eastern Bloc language and be prepared to infiltrate behind enemy lines, to link up with, train, and fight alongside partisans to defeat the Red Army in their very own backyard. In other words, I had to be really good at guerrilla warfare. Although the Cold War is technically over, we now face a new global conflict, terrorism. To combat this threat, I've got to be an expert in the techniques of close-quarter battle. Together, we'll explore how elite soldiers and police units use these specific techniques, weapons, and technologies to defeat their enemies at very close range. The term close-quarter battle is used to describe scenarios that police and military face in both urban and rural environments. Although the origin of close-quarter battle goes back to sword fighting and hand-to-hand combat, today it's used primarily to describe the techniques when small teams are confronting an enemy inside a building or within a compound. Stairwells, hallways, and rooms always pose dangerous and unknown variables. From basic muzzle awareness, weapons transitions, to silent team communication, all police and military units need to be as good as they can possibly be at close-quarter battle. In today's episode, we'll take a look at the conflict in Bosnia when it declared independence from former Yugoslavia. We will look at the use of snipers in this conflict, and also the employment of remote infrared indicators used for airstrikes. I will be firing some high-powered sniper rifles and looking at some of the equipment used by snipers during the fighting in Bosnia. Yugoslavia has a long and bloody history of being the flashpoint for conflicts in Europe dating back hundreds of years. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the breakup of Eastern Europe, and the consequent internal separation of Yugoslavia, the international community was once again pulled into a bloody struggle. This complicated conflict has layered political, ethnic, and religious motivations by various sides, but at the core of it are many examples of close-quarter battle. After one particularly bloody incident, the UN requested that NATO become involved by way of airstrikes on certain targets held by the Bosnian Serb army. Various parts of the city of Sarajevo became known as sniper alleys, where snipers would control foot traffic of soldiers, peacekeepers, and even civilians. The process of marking a target building is done in various ways. In modern combat, soldiers often use laser designators or infrared signaling devices. These devices emit a flashing infrared light pattern that can be seen and tracked from bombers or jet fighters and allow the bomb to be targeted specifically to one location. Although CQB is confined to buildings and street-to-street conflict, the use of guided bombs and missiles in Bosnia by NATO is an example of how larger militaries can support CQB with technology. Well, I completed my Special Forces training in 1993, and when I did, I was assigned to 10th Special Forces Group, which was the original Special Forces Group formed after World War II when the OSS was disbanded. Green Berets, Special Forces guys, are oriented globally. So depending on what part of the world you're operating in, you will learn a language from there, you'll learn the cultures and the history, and you're gonna rotate in and out many times so you know the people, the places, and the terrain. It's funny, when the Iron Curtain came down, we were dealing with a whole new set of problems, not the least of which was, what happens to all of this hardware? Wherever Green Berets operate today, wherever they are, they know language, they know culture, and they're ready for the idea of staying behind enemy lines and fighting a guerrilla war. It's also kind of ironic that after I came back in after 9/11, I ended up going to Europe again. I worked in Kosovo. Now that part of the world, the Balkans, has seen a lot of conflict, and you can definitely say it's got a very interesting history. Kosovo, the Balkans, is a beautiful country. When large powers withdraw, smaller factions will vie for territory and resources. In this case, religious, cultural, and ethnic divisions really come to the front and make the fighting very bloody and nasty, and old grievances are settled ruthlessly. In this environment, whether it's urban, rural, or a combination of both, a sniper wields enormous power. One man with one gun can control a population using the fear of death around every corner and literally determine how a war is fought. Snipers played a crucial and terrifying role in the battle for Sarajevo, and to understand the psychology of one, you have to imagine how they live. A sniper hide or den is a term used to describe a hidden location either outside or, in this case, inside an abandoned building where a sniper essentially makes his home. Spending long hours waiting and watching his territory, he eats, sleeps, and works from this location for often weeks at a time. A sniper hide in a building is usually deep back inside a room, so that the lines of the weapon and the muzzle flash will not be revealed when the shots are taken. A combination of camouflaging techniques are used to keep the room dark and to allow the sniper to live and move freely inside without revealing his position. The snipers in the Sarajevo conflict were notorious for their patience and cruelty in shooting civilians, often leaving them wounded so that others would be drawn to rescue them. Let's take a look at a theoretical sniper hunting mission being conducted by NATO troops looking to designate a target for a guided missile. Often, NATO troops would work in small teams in cooperation with private military contractors or intelligence officers. The conflict in Bosnia was a unique post-Cold War conflict, which often put a combination of soldiers together that only 5 years previously might have been on opposite sides. One sharpshooter with one rifle and some ammunition can strike fear into a population and control a section of a city for a long period of time. When a team sets out to find a sniper position, they often have to put themselves essentially into the line of fire before they can pinpoint exactly where it is. Often the best way to gain intelligence about a sniper is to see how a target is hit by them. The noise of the weapon, also referred to as a report, is one clue, but also the direction in which a body falls after being hit can be an indicator where the firing position might be located. In addition to this, often civilians who are living in an area that is fired upon by snipers regularly have basic human intelligence that can help in finding that position. Once the team has an idea of the direction from which the sniper is firing, they can begin to maneuver into position. One of the most notorious Cold War-era weapons found all over the world, and often fired at US and Western allies, is the Dragunov sniper rifle. From Vietnam to Iraq, this rifle has been used by communist and guerrilla forces for almost 60 years. Chambered in 7.62 by 54 millimeter, this rotating bolt gas-operated sniper rifle has become a formidable tool of many a sniper. Something unique in the Dragunov is the semi-automatic firing system and detachable magazine, which allows for speed of repeating shots and reloading. Although this is standard in many sniper rifles now, it was unique at the time of its introduction. I'm going to take a look at the Dragunov. Here at the URNA training compound. URNA are the Czech National Police Force. These guys are a rapid response anti-terrorist unit that actually accomplish a lot of missions as well, not the least of which is long-range shooting, sniping, in support of all our operations. So I'm with one of their best snipers, and trust me, these guys are good. I've seen their trophy wall. You don't want to mess with them.
This is Soviet rifle, Dragunov.
Yeah, yep.
This is caliber 7.62 as 54.
Okay, yep.
Okay, this is a very old gun, and now we don't use.
Right. Now, a few years ago, maybe you trained on it.
Yes, maybe 10, 15 years we use.
So this is the Dragunov sniper rifle. This is all over the place. This caused us a lot of problems all the way through Korea War, Vietnam, and we definitely see this in Afghanistan and Iraq. Guys have been pretty well trained on it. It's a simple weapon. It's pretty darn reliable. It's very simple, and in the hands of the right person, pretty darn effective. Now let's take a look at some additional optics and equipment that snipers use. From rangefinders to ballistic computers, snipers need to be able to understand and control all of the variables that influence a bullet after it leaves the barrel of the rifle.
This is Taki rangefinder.
Really light.
Light.
Because this is smaller, it's got a little less power. So maybe to 500 meters, you can get an exact distance. Outside of there, this isn't quite strong enough. You need something a little bit bigger. Okay, Zeiss.
Binocular.
Wir haben binoculars. The sniper scopes are great, but they're very narrow field and really difficult to find a target with them because you're constantly looking. But this, you can scan for the objective.
Yeah.
Boom, there it is. And then you can go ahead and lock it on with something else. Excellent. So Mohammed, so this is just like we have. This is the Kestrel. What this is, you can already see the wheel turning. You open this up. This measures wind speed, so it's an anemometer. It measures temperature, humidity, and barometric pressure. Like I said earlier, all that stuff combined can affect the bullet. And we're talking here about a game of inches, centimeters. We've gotten to the point now in the world of sniper that you can plug in all of this data from the weather, the atmospherics, and then a lot of the gun data, the scope, the height over bore, a lot of detailed information, and get some really accurate information on how to make these shots. So with a ballistic computer, it takes a lot of the guesswork out. It takes a lot of the, what you have to do normally in the past was constantly take shots from different distances and compile basically a data book. Well, the ballistic computer is your data book, and you just add stuff to it, punch it in, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
Close Quarter Battle continues after the break on the National Geographic Channel. In the next episode of Wicked Tuna, out at sea, a man's fishing spot is sacred.
I discovered it and I caught fish there. Dave loves to fish in that spot.
But one boat's desperation
We need to fish bad now.
leads Captain Billy to break the fisherman's code.
We're gonna go fish on those numbers.
It's first come, first serve. We always know where the bounty hunter is. If he's not in the marina, he's on our numbers. They took money out of my pocket, now they put it in theirs.
Wicked Tuna, Wednesday night at 9 on the National Geographic Channel. Tomorrow, get ready for an unusual fishing competition. I got it! Which involves no rod, no reel, but just hands. Mudcat, tomorrow night at 9 on the National Geographic Channel.
The finely tuned human heart is highly efficient at regulating temperature and output. LG Inverter Linear Compressor, the heart of LG's refrigerators, works in the same way, regulating movement to save energy and reduce mechanical loss. LG Core Technology, a smart choice for a better tomorrow.
Odisha Tourism, scenic, serene, sublime.
What if you could drive the future today and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and you never had to stop for petrol again, ever? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? The Nissan Leaf.
Tell me what you want to
Canon, delighting you always.
Whatever happened to Saturday night?
007 reporting for duty.
An invitation.
You must be joking.
It's awesome!
Every Saturday night, catch the awesomeness only on Fox Movies Premium. Subscribe now and catch it on Fox Movies Play. Available on video on demand, iPad, or foxmoviesplay.com. In the next episode, homeless on the streets and living out of the trash, Miles is in desperate need of a home.
It's very important that he doesn't buy things that fits him.
Now, 3 families are willing to rescue him.
We think he'll be fantastic for us.
We just want to make sure he has a home.
We're ready for him.
But only one has what it takes.
He's gonna make some family very happy.
This has been my hardest decision.
Leader of the Pack, Wednesday night at 11 on the National Geographic Channel. Close Quarter Battle continues now, the National Geographic Channel.
So I'm here at Urna, training with the Czech National Police Force. This is a very elite rapid response unit equipped to deal with terrorist threats and a lot of other missions. This is the 338 Lapua, so that's a bigger round. It's got a lot of power behind it. A lot of guys in the community and special operations like the Lapua setup. So again, 25 power scope. This is something interesting too, you'll see here. They have a bubble level. This is kind of important. It doesn't make that much of a difference close up. When you start getting very, very far range, the cant of the weapon can actually mess you up. So you want this to be exactly level. It's a small thing, but small things in the world of snipers make big results, especially if it affects here when it gets to 800 yards away, 800 meters away, a big difference. So that's actually really important. So 338, kolik in the magazine. That's it? Yeah, so 5 rounds in the magazine, that makes sense. It's a bigger thump your bullet. They've got some data here, which is basically what these guys can use as a quick reference guide, looking down range to adjust how they use the gun.
This is better effective range than caliber 308.
Sure, yeah.
308 maybe about 700 meters.
Yep.
338 maybe 1 kilometer.
T-seats.
Yeah.
This is pretty darn effective to 1,000 meters. That's a pretty far shot. So if you can take a 1,000-meter shot, that's a good one. Guys have done almost double that, but that's rare. Manufactured in Great Britain by Accuracy International, the AS-50 is referred to as an anti-material rifle. It's effective against not only enemy personnel, but vehicles and even building structures. The sniper rifle fires the 50 caliber round from a 5 or 10 round magazine. With an effective range of 1.5 kilometers, this weapon can truly reach out and touch someone. Tak, konečně.
Yes, konečně. This is rifle caliber 50. Accuracy. This is anti-material.
Anti-material. We call this an anti-material weapon. In case you need to see how big this is. The hard targets.
Yes, yes,
yeah.
Yes. Scope have now Meupta. Zoom is 24.
That's good.
But usually we use Schmidt-Bender.
The Schmidt-Bender on top
accuracy.
of that. This is the one that was on this. But you like this, yeah?
Yes, it
okay,
is.
yeah.
Now we have Meupta. This is very good scope.
Kolik taki piet?
5.
5 rounds in the mag. You'll hear a lot of times maximum range or maximum effective range. Those are 2 different things. The maximum range of this, if I were to camp this and just shoot it and see how far I could go, is you might be able to shoot at 4,000 meters, you know. Effective range meaning how effectively can you use this to pinpoint a strike and to attack a specific target. So the maximum effective range will always be shorter than the maximum range.
This bullet have only maybe for 1,000 shooting.
I know this because we have the Barrett 50 caliber in America, and it's a really, man, it's a butt kicker. You don't really want to shoot too many of them at one time or in a day, and it's so strong and heavy duty that it beats the crap out of the barrel. So, do you use this a lot?
No. We have this gun for when will be big problem.
This is kind of a contingency weapon. It's big, it's heavy, it's kind of a pain in the ass to move around, but you may need this to take out maybe a vehicle, an auto, or even shoot through a building. So this isn't a normal weapon you see like sniper guys using, but it definitely has its application.
Maybe we go to the Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yep.
Maybe it's better.
Then you have some, because then you can really go out far with it too. Yeah, good shot, man. Nice. That was all right. Okay, that 50 caliber gun really packs a thump. The mistake you would make is knowing that's gonna come and kind of squeezing and hesitating. Grouping in sniper is key. If you have a good group with your weapons, you know you're doing the right thing because you're doing it consistently. As a sniper, you want to do the same thing every time so that you make that shot every time you need to. The conflict in Bosnia and Sarajevo was one of the first conflicts after the fall of the Soviet Union, where small arms gun battles and street-to-street fighting in civilian areas lasted for an extended period of time. It's also one of the first examples where private contractors began working side by side with NATO forces in specialized functions, ranging from basic maintenance, force protection, to intelligence gathering. NATO would often have small units of a few internationally selected special forces operatives working in a team with civilian contractors, private contractors, or intel officers. When trying to find a sniper hide, you have to work in a similar manner to a police officer investigating a crime. And literally get into the head of the sniper. Once you enter the territory of a sniper's line of fire, you've got to watch and listen carefully for any information that may give away that position relative to where you are. This team responds to being fired upon by finding cover. By waiting and observing the results of the sniper firing on other military personnel and civilians, they begin to get an understanding of where he might be positioned. The team utilized the 3 rules of CQB while taking action to find and eliminate the sniper. Surprise. The team works to turn the sniper's advantage around so they can surprise his position unexpectedly. Speed. Once they have his position roughly located, they fire and maneuver in a 2x2 covering formation, leapfrogging and bounding towards that position to maintain that speed. Violence of action. The team uses the final principle of violence of action by eliminating the target with focused force once they've reached that position. Let's take a look at an overview of how a typical sniper can be located and eliminated by the military. As the team approaches, they're fired upon from an unknown location. They seek immediate cover and observe. As they observe additional military personnel and civilians being engaged, they can respond quickly to locate and eliminate the target. By moving through covered and concealed positions inside structures and splitting into 2 teams, they can eliminate any additional personnel that might be guarding the sniper position. When the NATO team moves to locate the sniper directly, they find that the building is set with traps and tripwires. They decide instead to call in an airstrike on the entire abandoned building. The team moves out of the target building and leaves a small infrared indicator on the ground outside. This blinks in a pattern which allows a circling bomber or jet to track a missile right to the position. As soon as they have removed themselves to a safe distance, the airstrike is called and the entire building is leveled to the ground. The snipers in Sarajevo struck terror in the hearts of both the residents and the NATO personnel living in the city. We are returning to our CQB scenario to watch as a team of NATO Special Forces operatives and intel officers hunt down and eliminate a sniper in an abandoned apartment complex. The process of moving from one position to another is known as fire and maneuver. One of the most effective means is known as bounding overwatch. It involves the 4-man team breaking into a 2x2 covering formation as they leapfrog each other, maintaining covering positions as they move, and fixing the enemy in his position. One team can either supply covering fire to distract a potential enemy, or they can prepare to actually return fire from them. As they discover and enter the building where he is hiding, they find booby-trapped explosives and decide to retreat. As they withdraw, they leave behind an infrared indicator. Once they've distanced themselves from the area, They could call in an airstrike that uses the IR indicator to track the missile or bomb into the building the sniper is hiding in. Today, we learned about how snipers were used in the conflict in Sarajevo. We visited an anti-terror scout sniper team and fired the .50 caliber Accuracy International anti-material sniper rifle.